It's Monday, October 13th, and unfortunately, Billy Napier is still the head coach of the Florida Gators.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free. We're visiting the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Monday. Not so happy Monday. It's Monday. That's what we're going to say. It's Monday. I am Brandon Olson. Find all my written work about the Florida Gators with swampsignal.substack.com. This episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for this week's Moving the Game Forward highlights. Mazda, move and be moved. And I mean, we're going to start with this, right? It's Monday. Billy Napier still our head coach. Why? I mean, well, one, spineless loser Scott Strickland not going to make a move. But also, like we've been told for much of the season, that the number's 8, right? Like if Billy's going to keep his job, he needs to win 8 games. That's what we've been told. I don't necessarily believe it. I've been very open about that. That I don't fully believe that the number's 8. I could see it being 6. Not that it should be, not that I'm defending it. I just have very, very low opinions about the people that make those decisions. So I will say that's how I feel about them. They're losers. That is what it is. I think that there is a genuine possibility that they're waiting for the bye week. Like I'm not saying the number 6, the number might be 8, but basically what I'm trying to get at is I will believe the number is 8 when he gets the 5th loss of the year and he gets fired, because that's what it is, right? I will also say this, that things could be uglier than they've been, because when Florida lost to USF, which is embarrassing in itself, but when Florida lost to USF last month, I spoke about it on the show, and I wrote for Swamp Signal about how one of the reasons that Billy Napier might not have been fired at that point, or when things started getting really sour after LSU and after Miami, one of the reasons that he might not have been fired then was when a coach is fired, that triggers a 30-day transfer portal window for all players from that school to leave. So you keep them, and then they're not going to enter the portal. Last week, that rule changed. So last week, that rule changed. If that was the reason he was staying, that's no longer the reason. He's still here, so we know, hey, it wasn't about the portal, or the portal wasn't the major contributing factor there, because now the rule is that players need to either enter the transfer portal during the transfer portal window or 5 days after a new head coach is hired. That's the rule now. It's no longer, hey, if a coach is fired, you get 30 days to enter the portal. For coaches that have already been fired, yes, guys are grandfathered into that. But for this, it's now 5 days after a coach is hired, is that window. So no longer have the whole, well, if you fire him, then guys enter the portal. Not the case. They could redshirt still, or if they haven't played more than 4 games, they could redshirt still. If they have played more than 4 games, they could just opt out, right? Although I do think that there are now, and I'm not saying that this is for every player or every school. I'm not saying that it's for Florida. What I am saying is that there are schools that have it set where part of your NIL contract is that you can't opt out. Like if you're healthy and in the rotation, you need to play. And so like you no longer have the if you fire him, guys hit the portal right away. You no longer have that. I don't know about the NIL thing, if that's true for Florida. I do know that it's true for other schools. And so I'm saying that it might be true for Florida because a lot of these schools, they tend to go like, okay, well, that school is doing that, so we're going to start making that uniform for us, which could be the case for Florida. Could not be. Who's to say? But I will say that this was one of the worst coaching performances we've seen in a long time. And we've seen some doozies, but yeah, this was bad. We'll talk about the offensive performance and defensive performance later, but strictly from a coaching standpoint, they need to get Austin Barber better help. We've had the Austin Barber conversation a ton of times before, right? We've had the conversation that I think he can work as a right tackle. I don't think he's a left tackle. I think he looked a lot more natural on the right side. And over these past 3 games, he's absolutely destroyed his draft stock. And I hate to say that, right? Because he's gone up against some dudes. But he was talked about prior to the season as a potential first-round pick, which if you go back to when we were talking about that, I never really bought that part. It just didn't make a ton of sense to me. Like he's got some athletic tools, but I've never spoken to anybody with NFL ties that actually told me, hey, we think he's going to be a first-round pick. So I never really bought that. But I think that he had a shot at being a second-round pick. Maybe sneak into the late half of the first if he had a great combine performance, because he's a fairly athletic guy, testing wise. But he had against Miami, he got destroyed by Ruben Bain and Akeem Messenger. Basically, anytime he was up against them, he got destroyed. Against Texas, he did have a relatively strong game in pass protection against Texas. But there were some stretches where Colin Simmons just beat him, specifically in the running game, more so than the passing game. Then Texas A&M, they destroyed him. Like they just annihilated. They gave him a 0.0 PFF pass blocking grade, which it's amazing. But Florida's gotten 3 of those this year. 3 0.0 pass blocking grades on PFF, which I don't necessarily care about PFF grades. I've said that multiple times. I really don't care about them like that. But a 0.0, I don't take it as like, oh yeah, like PFF saying like, oh, you played really poorly. Like that's I take a 0.0 as like that game was atrocious. You don't have to think it was a 0.0, right? Because, some people are going to go, okay, well, 0 would be that you failed every single rep, and he didn't fail every single rep. However, PFF measures a 0.0 as basically every catastrophic play. Like you had so many catastrophic plays that the plays that weren't catastrophic were generally unimpactful. And so that was a big issue there. So 0.0 pass blocking grade. The third time Florida's gotten that this year. The other 2 were Bryce Lovett and Rod Kearney against Miami. And yeah, I mean, that was probably the worst performance of Austin Barber's career so far. Only way to go is up, right? But this was an awfully coached performance, awfully coached game. Because even though Austin Barber had his struggles, and we can critique his struggles fairly, why the coaching staff waited until, late in the third quarter to have Hayden come over and help pass block was ridiculous. Cassius Howell was just taking your lunch money every rep. Cassius Howell was talking trash. Really backfires when a guy comes to visit you and out of the portal, and for some stupid arbitrary reason you say, we're not gonna give you what you want because of this reason. I don't know, like arms are a little too short, right? Like for some stupid arbitrary reason like that, you turn down a guy. And then he beats your ass. Really embarrassing there. It's almost like if you have a good football player, you just take the good football player. I understand it with a lot of recruits, right? Like I understand that if you have a recruit that has some measurable concerns, and you're like, oh well, we don't know if he's good in college. Not even talking SEC, just good in college. We don't know that. That's fair. I do think that's a fair concern to have. Here's the thing, though. Cassius Howell was a dude, right? Like Cassius Howell at Bowling Green was a dude, just a pass rushing menace. I'm 90% certain I did an entire show when he entered the portal about go get Cassius Howell. Because the games he did play against good offensive linemen, he beat the crap out of them. Because that's what he does. Damn good football player. Would be nice to have him on the team, right? That'd be a lot of fun. And that's not to knock anybody that is on the defense, but it really sucks when you have a guy that you turn down come in and beat the crap out of you for 60 minutes. It's embarrassing, right? And if they're not embarrassed, that's on them. This was a horrible coaching performance. We'll talk more about the offense, the defense, and probably more about the coaching when we get back with Locked On Gators. This episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, but it's about redefining it completely. And there are moments that do more than put points on the board, right? They move crowds. They move culture. They keep moving the game forward. I mean, it feels like we're in that moment every time Dallas Wilson touches the football. And like I can't explain it. Like I love Dallas too. But it's just like every time he touches the football, like you just want that kid to win. And he does. Like he's a dude. But like every time he touches the ball, you just want him to win. And that kind of stuff, it's just, it transcends sports. It transcends football. It's amazing to watch. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever in the podcast and on YouTube. And the Florida Gators had an incredible opening drive this season, right? An incredible opening drive to the season or to the game against Texas A&M. They came out, they marched downfield, which let's also for a second talk about the odd decision. Florida won the toss and elected to receive the kick. Not a good decision almost ever, right? And I get the thought of, well, let's start hot. Let's get our defense something to play for, right? Like, let's let them know, hey, this is the offense you're getting today. So let's start hot. Let's give them something to play for. And let's go out there and set the tone early. Which you did. You went downfield and you drove. Where that mindset or where that thought process overlooks an important moment is the middle eight, which, I mean, at this point, we've spoken about it 1,000 times with Billy Napier. Really bad in the middle eight. The middle eight are the 4 minutes before halftime and the 4 minutes after halftime. Billy Napier is consistently bad in that stretch. I can't explain it. Genuinely, beyond words to me. But he comes out and he just plays so conservative in those middle eight. And that's when you get your ass kicked. That's really it. Like, that's we have, I think, the middle eight. Yeah. It was brutal. You didn't have as many plays as Texas A&M in the middle eight. You came in and I don't know. You came in and you got the ball back and you chose to just, you did the Billy thing. You ran the football a couple times and then you just made bad choices throughout. It was really weird. It was just awful decision making. And I can't explain it. Like I can explain what we saw, but I can't explain why he did it. And like that's why I'll critique him. And I've said this for a long time. I will continue to say this. If I can at least see the logic behind the decision, I won't crush you for it, right? I don't get the middle 8. I don't get why he can't get that right. Because you chose to receive the ball, you were down 7, you had the opportunity to go make this a game. Like make this a legitimate game. And just like didn't. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. You got the ball and punted ultimately in like a minute drive. Didn't try to take advantage. Didn't try to attack. Knowing that you were down, and knowing that Texas A&M was getting the ball at half. Like, you gave them the ball ahead. That's why you don't receive the kick if you win the toss. You say, hey, I'm going to kick off to start this, because then at the end of the first half, I can manage that and try to score or try to prevent them from scoring. And then whatever it is at the start of the second half, I know how much I'm down by. It's the same reason in overtime, teams or not kick, but teams start on defense, right? I'm going to let you do what you got to do. And if I get a stop, I need a field goal to win. If you kick a field goal, I need a field goal to tie. I need a touchdown to win. If you score a touchdown, I need a touchdown. Like so you know what you're getting into. And Billy just doesn't have that foresight. And it's consistently shot this team in the foot. It's been awful. You had a strong opening drive. DJ Lagway, I really don't think he didn't play well, right? He didn't play well. But he didn't play horrendous. Whenever he was under pressure, he was horrendous. That was true. But he got sacked so many times, or hit so many times. Sacked a couple, not a ton, but hit so many times. Was constantly under pressure, and we saw some of the flashes, right? Like we saw some of the Lagway plays where he'll evade pressure, brush off a defender, and he'll make something happen. But just not enough. It wasn't enough. And his offensive line let him down. I was talking about Austin Barber before. It wasn't just Barber. Like, Caden Jones is a bad game. KD Daniels got him killed. And look, KD's guy wasn't the one that hit him, if I'm not mistaken. But KD blew his block, which one of the reasons that he wasn't playing. But KD blew his block. DJ Lagway had to step up, and that led to the strip sack, or the, not even strip sack, but like the fumble where KD dove on it, and it's a great job for recovering it, but like, it's your fault. That's what happened there. And you could see it, like, even live and on the replay, you see KD like be late to recognize the blitz. There's a reason he wasn't playing, and that's it. We could talk about Trevor Etienne. Trevor Etienne was a dynamite playmaker that was bad in pass protection, not because he didn't know where to go, but because he was just bad at it. KD didn't know where to go. Led to that negative play right away. Drive killer there. And honestly felt like a bit of a momentum switch. Lagway needs to be more consistent. Found the deep ball a little bit. There was one deep ball where I go, oh, that was a miss. But it was more so, I want to say miscommunication. Like, it seemed like he thought Dallas was going to be going to the sideline. And instead, Dallas was trying to keep going upfield vertically. But yeah, so outside of that, there weren't really times where it felt like he just like wasn't good. Yeah, it was tough. I don't think that he was put in a good position in this game. I think that coaching failed him. And it's not the first time, right? But I do think that this is one of those times where you go, yeah, coaching actually failed him. Because early on, deep shots were working. They went away from that to go to the RPO, and then they kind of went away from the RPO as well. Went back to it, went away from it, and they like couldn't decide, like, oh, this is working. Should we stick with it? And so there was that. Pass protection wise, was not put in a good spot. I know that the right side of the line also struggled. I acknowledge that. My plan, and I've talked about this before with Hayden, is I would have, like, I've talked about how to use Hayden before. I would have just said, hey, we're going to put you on Cassius Howell's side. And you can block. And then once you're done with your part, you just release. First play of the game, Hayden, block, release, 24-yard gain. Didn't go back to that look really. I don't think went back to him at all. Which isn't going to be one of my complaints. Like I'm firmly in the case of get it to the most dynamic dudes you have, which right now that's Dallas and VB3. And everybody else is just, hey, if it's your time, it's your time. I support that. But yeah, I feel like your approach had to be have someone always there to help whoever is guarding Cassius Howell or whoever's blocking Cassius Howell. That wasn't the case, right? Wasn't the case. Offensive line played pretty poorly. I mean, specifically the tackles, right? Specifically Austin Barber, Caden Jones. Bryce Levitt came in and immediately got a killer false start. So there was that fun stuff. Yeah, offensive line wasn't good. Jaden Ball was Jaden Ball. He's a dude, right? Dallas Wilson was Dallas Wilson. He's a dude whenever he got the opportunities. VB's a dude. J. Michael Sertivant played one of the better games of his career. Looked comfortable too. Like he looked more comfortable than he's ever looked. Doing his little celly, like going on. I said one of the best games of his career. One of the best games of the season, not career. Sorry. Trey Wilson had a couple good plays. Like he looked like he was looking a little in rhythm again after being shut out last week. Amir Jackson had the first touchdown of his career out of the backfield too. That was the Arliss Boardingham play. We've seen that touchdown before with Arliss in the backfield though. Just got to figure out ways to do things consistently, really. Like you scored 14 points on your first 3 drives and scored 3 points the remainder of the game. We could talk about the defense playing their worst game. We're going to in just a minute. But offense, like you got to do something consistently. You have to. Texas A&M's taking away the run. They were daring you to pass. They were doing what I've been saying teams should do. I've been saying this since the LSU game. If I'm a DC, or since before the LSU game, if I'm a DC, I'm going to be as disrespectful as possible to the passing game. I'm going to play press man coverage on the outside. I'm going to load the box, and I'm going to bring guys at you. And if you make me stop, then I'll stop. But if you don't make me stop, I'm not going to stop. And after the first couple drives, you were getting going a little bit, then it just went to crap right away. We are going to talk about the defensive side here for the Florida Gators. Allowed the most points they've allowed all season. We'll talk about that when we get back with Locked On Gators. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. You pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Make some money. If you're a Jaguars fan, at least you get to see some good football, right? If you're a Bucs fan, you get to see some good football. I'm a Giants fan, so not so much. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. And most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. So if you've been putting off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you, so you can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, see how much you really spend on takeout, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser or for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE. Thanks for being Locked On Gators, your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, wherever the podcast and on YouTube. The Florida Gators defense allowed 34 points against Texas A&M. It was the most points they've allowed all season. They got pushed around, right? They got pushed around up front for a bit. Like early in the game, and we spoke about this on the post-game live show immediately following. Early, and I sent this to the Insider program, which joins subtext.com/LockedOnGators. I said this to the insider program during the game, where I was like, look, Texas A&M on 1st and 10 is coming out and throwing the football, which not usually what they do, but they're coming out and throwing the football because they know that on 2nd and 10, because it was happening, they know that on 2nd and 10, they were picking up 5 or 6 yards on the ground. 2nd and 10 runs suck, okay? Texas A&M was having success doing that. Texas A&M was coming out saying, hey, yep, we're going to come out, throw the football on 1st down, run it on 2nd if we don't get anything on 1st down. And there's nothing they're going to do to stop us. And that's kind of what they did, right? Like they just went out and they just bullied you. It was brutal to watch. It was tough to see, but it's what happened. Texas A&M came out on 1st down, threw the football. If it didn't work, they ran the football, and they were picking up 5 or 6 yards, leading to 3rd and manageables. And that's a killer. We talked about this all week leading up to the game. That was the thing you had to, that was the most important thing you had to do in order to give yourself a chance to win this game, was keep them in 3rd and longs, because Marcel Reed has been awful in 3rd and longs all year. You didn't do that in the slightest bit. You got bullied at the point of attack, and you lost the game, partially because of it. This is the first time that this defense has done that. One of the reasons that I'm not crushing this defense right now is because, well, yeah, they got beat at the point of attack consistently, but also I have a hard time crushing them for it because this is the first time they've done that. Like this is the first time that they've had even a miscue, and like I don't even want to crush them too much, because similar to, I mean, at this point, every Florida Gators game that we've seen this year and have seen in the past, it's just tough to crush the defense on things when the offense isn't doing their job either. Because again, the offense scored 2 touchdowns on their first 3 drives, and and the one they didn't score on was a punt, 3 and out. So they scored 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. After the first quarter, they went 3 and out, punt, 5 play, punt. They went 6 play, punt. Then they went end of half, or punted before the end of half. So punt. Then their first drive, fumble. Then a drive and a field goal. Good job. So then a drive and a field goal. Then a punt on 5 plays. Then a 5-play turnover on downs. Like this was first quarter, awful for the defense, including the start of the second quarter where that drive started in the first quarter. Those first 3 drives for the defense were awful. It went touchdown, 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 right? Then they settled in. They forced a punt, lucky with a missed field goal, forced a punt, made field goal after the fumble, forced a punt, got a pick. Then they walked it down. They scored a touchdown. And that was the killer, right? Like that was the kill shot. That was the drive. A 13-play, 8-minute drive for the touchdown was the killer. After Florida turned it over on downs, and what I think was a bad decision. It's tough. It was tough. Like the defense had a really awful start, rebounded after that, but it wasn't enough, partially because the offense. And like I'm not saying that to excuse the defense. I think they played poorly. I do. But it's tough for me to crush you for playing poorly when you haven't done that all season, right? I think missed tackles were the biggest killer there. I think miscommunication. I don't even know what I was going to say miscommunication. I don't even know what it was miscommunication. But Mario Craver, that first play, I don't know. Bryce Thornton and Jordan Castell both got absolutely toasted, just completely burnt. It was brutal. I will say, and there was also that one play with Devin Moore where he chased down Marcel Reed across the entire field. I don't know if that was a play call, because I don't think I've ever seen Ron Roberts call a field corner blitz, like the far corner blitz. I don't think I've ever seen that from Ron Roberts. So I don't know if Devin Moore just bit on the fake and decided, screw it, like I'm going to fire in, like I'm already here, but ended up being a solid play for Devin Moore. And if Devin Moore wasn't there, probably would have been a considerably bigger gain for Marcel Reed. So I don't know what happened there, but I'm cool with it, honestly. But this was just tough because up front, you got pushed around. That's it. You faced a team that's more physical than you and has more power than you, and they pushed you around. And that's what it is, right? I think that Marcel Reed started hot, and then once that hot streak ended, we got the Marcel Reed that we're used to seeing. But this was just not a great performance from the defense. We've seen worse. Like it wasn't a completely awful, terrible, horrible, no good, very bad performance. There were still some bright spots to it, but safety play killed you from the jump. And this is another one of those games where if you don't get pressure, this defense doesn't work. That's it. Like this defense needs pressure to work. You had that one pressure from Brian Taylor Jr. that blew up a play. And then you had 2 pressures from Jaden Robinson on blitzes. And outside of that, Florida didn't get a pressure. They just got beat every time off the ball. You're not going to win a damn game if you can't get any pressure. Like that's just how this works. And so Florida, you got to figure that out again. But it's time. And like, yeah, I don't even know what to say with things because like I feel like there were times they were trying, but it also kind of just felt like they were like, all right, well, nickel blitz is what we're doing here. Box safety blitz is what we're doing here. Like, gotta mix up something, right? But also it's tough to get pressure when Texas A&M doesn't throw the ball. You were letting them get into these manageable spots. Tough to get pressures when they don't throw the ball. They threw the ball 26 times. That's not a lot. So tough stuff there. But look, I mean, this is one of the last games where I think Billy Napier is going to be the coach of the Florida Gators. Hoping so. Defense, every belief in them to get back on track. Offense, you might just be what you are. Inconsistent, couple good drives, couple good showings, but outside of that, we can't expect you to get more than we can't expect you to even put up 20. That's it. Like that's the sad part is that you got a ton of talent on this offense, and I can't look at you no matter who you're going against and say, yeah, they can get me 20. Like they can, but will they? I have no idea. They've hit 20 twice this year. Long Island and last week against Texas. Outside of that, the 17 they scored against Texas A&M, highest scoring output. 17 points is their second highest scoring output against an FBS team this year. That's embarrassing for an offense with a head coach that is supposed to be an offensive-minded guy. Figure it out or get out. It's as simple as that. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day, we are available daily and free. We have us in the podcast and on YouTube. We will be back tomorrow. Talk more Florida Gators football for Locked On Gators. I'm Brandon Olson. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my Florida Gators written work with swampstagle.substack.com, and I'll see you all next time.